Good evening, folks. Welcome to yet another breakdown. I know I'm sorry about last week after the Grambling game. We weren't able to break down like what had happened and recap everything, but it's all good. We know what happened. We talked about it on the Run and Gun podcast. If you were watching Wednesday night, or if you still want to go back and listen to what we talked about on Wednesday night. But today's another interesting one. The Louisiana tour rolls on. We got FAMU and we got Southern. So it's this is a rivalry reborn. It's finally two teams that are coming together, going at it finally, but for the first time they're conference mates and everything. And you know, I feel good about this one. I To an extent, I do. I'm looking forward to seeing what FAMU presents. Hopefully there's more growth that we see out of this offense. It's honestly time. I know every week we hope that there's more and more and more, but we're going to dive into it a little bit more soon. If you are watching, if you'd like to leave a comment, go over to YouTube and leave a comment because for some reason with this software, comments don't work on Twitter, unfortunately. But don't go anywhere. The intro's next. When we come back, we're going to break this down. And here we go. We are right into it. So for Southern last week, we'll talk about that first. Last week, a couple facts about them first. Last week, yeah, they beat Alcorn State 38-35, and I guess that kind of started this downward spiral that Alcorn's been on because, as we all know, they lost today to Bethune-Cookman, and, I think it's the end of their run of dominance, as I said Wednesday night. For Southern, these are just the facts. First game against FAMU in Baton Rouge since 2008. I don't know if y'all remember that game, but I think it was a Thursday night, or it was like a tape delay Saturday night game. And FAMU went in there, and that was the game where it was just like a high scoring affair. It was like 52-49 was like the final. I know Leroy Van had a punt return touchdown in that game, but it was wild. Even the ending was wild. But yeah, so last week Southern had 7 penalties for 85 yards last week against Alcorn. They had 452 yards of total offense, which honestly tells me that they finally realized that I think Lyndon McDaniels, and I kind of realized this too back in 2019, he is better than Ladarius Skelton, and they're rolling with him, and it's obvious that he's able to do the job. The run defense might be a little weak though. So they allowed 241 yards of total offense last week. Pretty consistent on third down as a team, 14 of 20 on third down, which honestly, I mean, if you're going for it 20 times and you get it 14 times and you only miss it 6, it's pretty good. They allowed 447 yards of total offense by Alcorn as well, 241 through the ground, 206 through the air, which honestly, hey, toe gang, this could be your night. You got Terrell Jennings, Jalen McLeod, and Bishop Bonnet all healthy. this could be their night. Just let them cut it loose and let them do what they do. Also, too, Southern had 20 something first downs in that game. So, oh, we got a comment. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. Just missed that. Southern. Oh yes, yes. Oh yeah, I know. Oh, I know. I know. I have the sweater from homecoming of '97. Actually, I don't have it here with me. I have it back at home, like home. But I know. Oh, believe me, I know. I was at the one in 2019. That was exciting, honestly. Um, but yeah. So as far as the players to watch goes, Glennon McDaniels, 24-34, 258 yards, one touchdown. Jared Sims, 22 carries, 74 yards, three touchdowns. Really, he carried their offense, honestly. Running back Kobe Dillon, 15 carries, 54 yards. Their lone wide receiver to even go over, really, the only guy to really go over 50 yards receiving, honestly, last week. Um, Khalif Gosset, I guess this must be a Louisiana type of name. Three receptions, 72 yards. And then their two breakout players last week on defense were Ray Anderson, 11 total tackles, five solo, six assists. And then their defensive tackle, Davin Cotton, it's an interesting last name, nine total tackles, four solo, five assists. And, you know, right away, I got to ask, as far as Southern goes, you know, what happened to the running back Ben and what happened to Jordan Lewis? Uh, is Jordan Lewis is he hurt? Was he ejected last week? Like what's going on? Because I mean, we'll find out really here in about an hour. But I think it's obvious, like defensively, they are missing him big time. Because you look at these numbers, especially 241 rushing. I understand you could run away from somebody like Jordan Lewis when they're blitzing from a different end, but the fact that like he's just not even in the stat sheet at all is kind of like eye opening. I'm not sure if it was like a season ending injury or what, but I mean we'll find out today because I mean if he's not on the field today, I'm gonna just assume he was injured and not ejected. How vital is it for Southern to pull off the upset here? Quite honestly, it's very vital because if Southern can in fact pull this off, this would make their season. This and the Bayou Classic would automatically make their season because I'm telling you now, Southern has nothing to really fight for. They got a huge win last week. They've already lost two, 3 games already. I know they lost one to Troy, and then they lost one to Prairie View. They lost handily to Prairie View, and then they lost. Oh yeah, and they lost 3. They lost another one to McNeese State. So I mean, you're basically well with all sort of eliminated from conference play in the grand scheme of things. Uh, so I mean, honestly, it's this is do or die for them. They don't get this one, you might as well start looking forward to the Bayou Classic if you're a Southern fan. How important is it for them to start fast? Honestly, hopefully, I would hope they've learned their lesson since honestly looking at the 2019 game. If you start slow against this FAMU team, you likely will not win. And even with all the changes to this offense and this team being more of with Rashaan Mckay being a game manager and being a run heavy team, yes, you still cannot afford to start slow against FAMU. If you saw homecoming, you know what I mean. Because if you start slow, you'll probably never recover. As well, to yeah, really, that's goes back to the question I had earlier. What happened to Devon Ben? 3 carries, 15 yards. Is he hurt or was he ejected? Or I'm assuming already Jared Sims came in and just took over and put him on the bench because I feel like a lot of people coming out of spring had high hopes for him. I don't know if he's tired from the spring or weary or what, but I can't get a read on this anymore. As far as they're just the key guys that they had that people had expected them to have. So this is it's going to look a little different. It is going to look a little different. How could special teams play a role in tonight's game? Look, special teams for Southern right now they're on a series high right now. They pulled off a win against a team that they'd struggled against. in this just to get to Atlanta in the SWAC championship. So it's a pretty big deal. They believe in their special teams unit. They have a consistent kicker. They are going to do their darndest to cover punts, cover kicks very well. They know about Jamari Sharif by now. The whole conference does by now. All your last three opponents know about him by now. So now you have to adapt your game and find ways to work around people's way of game planning for a specific element to your game or a specific element to the way you attack teams. Well, the offense found the rhythm it found last week. Remember, they had 452 yards total offense last week. If they want to find that rhythm, they better start fast. Glendon McDaniels, if y'all remember from 2019, he's the better passer out of him and Ladarius Skelton, in my honest opinion, at least. He is the better passer, so expect them to throw it more when he's in the game. If we see Ladarius Skelton, best believe it's more than likely it's going to be a run. Because I wouldn't put my full faith in him as a starter. If I'm Southern, I'm starting Glendon McDaniels. I'm sticking with him unless an injury comes up. Is the pass defense the glaring weakness? If it is, because honestly, I don't think that this secondary is even as good as what Grambling had last week. And I don't think it's as good as what Mississippi Valley had 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, look, you got your chances. Take them. Take your shots. And I know a lot of people are going to say, I've seen enough of Mckay and all this stuff and whatnot. Mckay has 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions this season, all total. And he's got about 1,000 going for 2,000 yards passing this season, I believe. So, look, if he has a chance and he has a good window and a clean pocket to deliver a throw, by all means, gash these guys and light them up. Let's have a 300-yard day, Mckay. That would be ideal, and that would be a good enough fast start. As well, too, now that we transition over to FAMU, last week FAMU won 26-3 on homecoming in front of the third largest homecoming crowd in school history, 31,887, as we all know. First meeting versus Southern as conference rivals. This is their first trip, as I just said, since 2008 to Baton Rouge. And also, too, for the Marching 100, because I know the 100's there, too. First trip to Baton Rouge since 2000. How about that? It's kind of crazy when you think about it. You're like, it's really been that long, but yeah, it's really been that long. Last week, a couple facts. They physically just punished Grambling at the point of attack. If y'all saw like the interior part of like what was going on during that game against line, every time you looked at it, a Grambling lineman or a Grambling linebacker was getting, put on their back or getting pushed back or getting run over for the most part. And I think that honestly is what led to the scuffle and all the confrontation last week. Grambling couldn't handle the fact that they were just getting their ass kicked, which honestly, that falls on Coach Fobbs. But that's another story for another time. He's already rambled enough about that throughout the week, and that's why he's probably trailing right now. Keep an eye on this, too. Bishop Bonnet is in position to have a 1,000-yard season still, 327 yards away. And when you look at a team that's been gashed for 241 yards rushing like Southern has, and Bishop Bonnet's 327 yards away, there's a good chance that Bishop Bonnet could likely eat up a large chunk of that 327 that he still needs to have a 1,000-yard season today or tonight. It's a large possibility. So, look, if there were ever a time for him to go off, it would be now. Him and Terrell Jennings, even for Terrell Jennings has yet to have a 100-yard game this season. Tonight could be the night. And then even, too, you consider Jalen McLeod came back from an injury last week. There was ever a chance for him to have a breakout performance, like a really real breakout performance with long runs. Tonight's the night. As well, too, last week, FAMU became 21-5 on homecoming for the first since 1995, going back to Billy Joe's second season. Secondary bounced back in a big way as well, too, last week, and they'll look to keep it going this week. So they only allowed 66 yards through the air, which is very, very impressive, which is something you don't see nowadays amongst secondaries. I mean, heck, Georgia's probably done it and Alabama's probably done it, but you don't really see that much in today's college football with the way the game's so spread out. Everyone's always running RPO. Everybody's always going fast and going tempo and stuff. It's always likely you're going to give up about 100 yards. So I mean, that is a very good thing to see after being let downs against Alabama, A&M, and Mississippi Valley. That's a very promising sign to see for the home stretch here. Had 10 penalties for 84 yards, and I can't even get mad at the penalties this week, honestly, because I mean, look, that basically went against everyone getting an unsportsmanlike personal foul call on them, and not everybody was involved in that fight. So I mean, look, I can't even get mad. I can't get mad at the fault of penalties this week. And then also too, I mean, with that whole scuffle causing the majority of that, I mean, look, that wasn't started by FAMU. So for once, I can honestly say I'm not really upset about the penalties. I was always told in football, if something like that happens, you protect yourself. Be smart about it, but protect yourself. And I mean, hey, that's what they did. Also, too, FAMU's still alive for a potential FCS playoff at large bid. And quite honestly, I mean, look, I read articles about this a lot all the time, and they always talk about who's on the bubble to get in the playoffs, who's the first four out. And it's kind of like the NCAA tournament, how they do this and stuff with the bracketology, and they break down the offensive production of all these teams. I know a lot of people will say, well, you have a team like Weber State that's one of the last few teams to get in, and you have teams like Mercer who are the last few teams to get in and stuff. And I get it. I know FAMU is a better team than both of those schools. You put them on a neutral field, I like FAMU's chances by at least a field goal or by 10 points. But at the same time, too, you look at the stats and the offensive production. FAMU, according to most, is only averaging 25 points a game. Those schools are averaging more than that. So the offensive production does play a role in what's going to happen as far as the FCS playoffs are concerned, as well as margin of victory. So we need to start seeing a trend upward here. The promising thing, though, and the good thing about this is you have time to still crack into the FCS top 25 poll. Because again, like I've been saying, I think FAMU's a better team than a lot of. Oh, we got comments. Oh my goodness, I need to leave the comment thing over. I don't feel good about our chances. I hope I'm. You know what? I am like you. I'm like you. Chances of getting in the playoffs. That is because of how powers that be perceive this way. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, I agree with you. And for me, it's not even just the SWAC. It's just I feel like they're gonna play like favoritism because of just the numbers. I mean, I think FAMU can hang with a lot of those teams. Like honestly, I think FAMU's a better team. As I said, FAMU's a better team than Weber State. They're not top 25 teams that are better than. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Because I mean, you look at what you're gonna make me pull this out. You are going to make me pull this up, this top 25 poll. Top 25 FCS poll. You're going to make me go to it, dude, because I definitely want to point this out. Because I look at some of these teams and I say to myself, what if they came to Tallahassee? What if they came to Tallahassee? So primarily looking at this, honestly, I look at a team like Missouri State with 3 losses. I don't think they're better than FAMU. They're ranked 17th in the country. Look at a team like Weber State, who's lost 4 games. They're definitely not better than FAMU, in my opinion. South Dakota, not South Dakota State, not the Jackrabbits, but South Dakota, just regular South Dakota. They're not better than FAMU, I don't think. And then, Mercer's not better than FAMU either. Not at all. Chattanooga, no. Dropped out of the top 25 poll, Rhode Island? Definitely not. I know someone that goes to Rhode Island. Rhode Island is not that good of a team. So there's definitely not 25 teams better than FAMU on this poll. You got a 5-3 team sitting at 13th in the country in Northern Iowa. I don't think Northern Iowa is better than FAMU. So I mean, I don't feel good about FAMU's chances getting in because you look at the margins of victory, and I know they're going to use that argument against FAMU, but some of these schools like FAMU is definitely one of the better teams in the country that deserves to get in. They definitely are. And then, I mean, you can already rule out Prairie View because I know Prairie View's got the West wrapped up and they're going to the SWAC championship. It's a matter of, I think, who will host. I think, honestly, if you think about it, Jackson State, of course, will host because, again, they've only got one loss on the season. Prairie View's going to they are going to lose to Texas A&M in a few weeks. So, but I digress. I can go on and on about this. Also, so for players to watch, quarterback Rashaan Mckay, he's 20 of 40. He was 20 of 43 last week, 204 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 1 interception. Played an okay game. He started fast. I think what I want to see now with Mckay is, and we've seen it now where he can stay. He knows how to stage comebacks. He knows how to stay consistent enough to win ball games. I want to see the trend slowly, steadily keep going up. I don't want to see a fast start followed by a plateau. I want to see fast start and keep continuing to trend up. No more of this and then go down. We need to see, trending up constantly. So, and honestly, and that will go a long way in his development and honestly, more wins by a wider margin the more he gets comfortable. Because I honestly felt like at one point there was a stint where he was getting more confident in his throws. He's playing good football still, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, but I want to see the next step still. That's what I want to see. Running back Terrell Jennings, 12 carries, 54 yards. I'd also keep an eye on Bishop Bonnet tonight. Jamar Shareed, 4 receptions, 51 yards, 1 touchdown. Xavier Smith, 7 receptions, 72 yards last week. Savion Williams had the game-sealing interception. I don't know if he's going to be held out of the first half of this game tonight. I think he is because I know that's how the targeting rule goes is you can't play the first half, but you can play the second half. So hopefully he can come back in the second half, which really I'd rather just have him full speed for the second half. That he's 100% when you got offensive linemen that are at about 75%. And, as the game wears on, he's still going. He's got more juice left than them. And that's where he can take over a game. So this might be a blessing in disguise. As well, too, you got defensive end Isaiah Land, 12 sacks on the season. And I believe someone said the FAMU record's 20. And it's attainable still with 3 games left. But it comes back to what I said, I believe, before the Mississippi Valley game. People are going to start scheming for you because they see how good you are. They're going to start leaving a tackle in. They're going to start leaving an extra tight end in. They're going to start leaving running backs on that side to chip you, to buy the quarterback. I think it got reversed according to something he posted on Instagram a couple days ago. I hope so. I really hope so. If it did get reversed, that's huge. Even still, because honestly, I think he still is in better shape than most of the offensive tackles in this conference. So whether he plays or if he has to wait till the second half, but I think he can still take over a game, honestly, and make an impact. So that's huge news if the SWAC office did reverse it, honestly, because I thought that was like a crappy call. I thought most of those calls that Whitehead made were just crappy from start to finish. Honestly, if anything, that crew should have got suspended for a game or even got fined, however way the SWAC punishes officials, because it makes no sense that you didn't throw the flag initially when you have a defensive back constantly ripping at Jamar Shareed's face mask and you wait until Jamar Shree goes to the ground to finally throw a flag. I think that that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Um, but for questions, we already answered that one. Could the FAMU offense be in position to have a big day? If they come in and dial in and take care of business, I think honestly the thing that helps is the fact that they will see a lot of their own fans because you already know, I mean, of course, FAMU travels very well. A lot better than what Grambling brought last week, which I'm kind of disappointed in, but we know the reasons behind that. But I do think, you seeing a lot more people and seeing the March of 100 on your side on the road. Yeah. Oh yeah. If they just take care of football, it's possible. You can win this game. Because honestly, I mean, look, you don't be intimidated by the environment. Don't have a homecoming hangover or anything like that. Just go in there and play football. We saw Prairie View go in there and win no problem. So I mean, I think it definitely is attainable that you can go in there, take control, take them out of the game early and win this game. But I wouldn't be surprised if this did turn into a shootout. It really would not surprise me at all. As well too, why is it critical to take advantage of the weaknesses in Southern's defense? If you can take advantage of the weaknesses in Southern's defense, which honestly I think is more so the running game, I feel like with the mysterious disappearance of Jordan Lewis, who is their NFL prospect, defensive edge rusher and outside linebacker, if you can take advantage of, use the misdirection that you usually use with Bishop Bonnet, use Terrell Jennings up the gut, run, make an impact, establish yourself, and then open up the passing game as you do that. If all of that falls into place, I think you can really expose Southern's rushing defense as well. Too, what else are we all waiting to see from this offense? I know some of y'all have something that you're waiting for from this offense. Honestly, for me, I'm waiting to see a more consistent deep ball. That's what I'm waiting on. I would like to see a way more consistent deep ball. I know we saw it in Huntsville. Coach Simmons talked about slowing the game down when we get large leads, protecting the football. Yeah, yeah. I I agree with that. I would like to see that happen, but again, that's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time because I've seen that hurt people as well as it works at the same time. I mean, a good example is, I mean, I've seen Nick Saban do it with success, but again, too, I've also seen teams like the Atlanta Falcons. I'm sorry if you're a Falcons fan and y'all are watching this, but I've seen that not work in favor of the Falcons. A breakout game, yes, that too. I would love to see a breakout game for Xavier Smith where he just takes a game over. If y'all remember 2019, he took over the game and against this very opponent. So I mean, today could be the day. But back to the whole, Coach Sims talked about slowing the game down when we get large leads, protecting the football. I get where he's coming from. I do. I get where he's coming from. So I mean, so God, it's hard to explain that when the team's only averaging 25 points a game, but I definitely get what you mean. I definitely do. So where are we at here? Is this the game where the run defense comes back to life? Honestly, I mean the run defense didn't really ever go anywhere, but at the same time, too, the last two games the last two road games we've surrendered 100 yards. It would be nice if that did not happen tonight. The rushing defense, unlike the last two road games, this road game and the next road game needs to travel. There needs to be a limit on what we let happen. So there can't be a 100-yard performance by this Southern rushing attack. Got to limit that. If you can limit that, then there's a very good chance of winning tonight. You can't allow, Devon Ben, if he is active tonight, to him and Jared Sims to go off for 3 touchdowns, or just allowing Jared Sims to go off for 3 touchdowns to his person. You have to limit this rushing attack. Nobody crosses the end zone rushing. That needs to be the mindset. Glendon McDaniels can't throw so much as one touchdown pass. Do you think the formation of the defense hurts the run defense? Do you still use like two linebackers? And yes, they do. They still use that. Do I think it hurts them? I'm honestly, if when it comes to certain things, like, it comes down to gap integrity. You have to be able to fill your gap, and when you fire off, you got to be able to fire off quick, and you got to get home. So I mean, it's not so much I think it hurts it. I think it's so much of you have to be able to hit that hole hard if you are the defender, beating the running back to where you're supposed to be, and not succumbing to the double team if you are getting double teamed. And I know sometimes that's hard to do, but you have to win your matchups, which honestly is a key to victory. But yeah, I mean it's and then I mean honestly too, those two linebackers they have to fill the gaps as well. So I mean, like I said, gap integrity, you got to fill the holes, and you got to get home quickly. You got to get there, and I think that's the challenge I love about this defense. Maybe trying to put his best athletes on the field. Yeah. Oh yeah, he definitely is. Because I mean, and this is where not having Eric Smith and Herman Jackson hurts, because now you're short two of your best athletes on defense. Because I mean, now as we all know, he's got both the Bowler brothers playing in the secondary, and then he's got Cox playing the other corner. He's got Marquise Bell out there. He's got Antoine Collier. So I mean, you've got a plethora of DBs out there that you're throwing out there to play. I have full confidence in the defense, especially if the offense just takes care of the football, dominate time of possession, get first downs, defense way. Oh yeah, definitely. And I think you got to set the tone early if you're the defense. If you can set the tone early and deliver the first blow, because emotions in rivalry games like this only last for so long. If you can establish your dominance and set the tone right away, you can win. And what you're saying will definitely come to fruition if they do that. So I do agree with you. As well too, I guess we already answered that. We talked about that. So I mean, my keys to victory before I get off of here are definitely, as I said earlier, win the one-on-ones. So, and when I say win the one-on-ones, I mean, honestly, look, defensive tackle, defensive line, defensive front as a whole, you got to win that one-on-one matchup against Southern's offensive line. The tight ends coming at you, blocking downhill when they run the ball, or even when they drop back to pass protect. Defensive backs got to win their one-on-ones against wide receivers. The Rack boys, they got to win their one-on-ones against the Southern defensive backs. Honestly, from what I saw in 2019 and even now, the kicking, I have full confidence in the kicking game. Jose Romero Martinez is a heck of a kicker, and honestly, kudos to him doing triple duty, kickoffs, field goals, and punts. I got confidence in him. But yeah, the kicking game is going to play a role tonight, especially with Southern special teams, having a new shot of confidence after the way they won last week against Alcorn. But yeah, winning the one-on-ones is definitely key to victory. Consistent quarterback play. If Rashaan Mckay can play consistent, and honestly, if they can establish a consistent running game to allow him to be consistent as a passer, that's also a key to victory. And then, of course, stay disciplined. Just, stay disciplined, play your game, and don't do anything out of the ordinary. You don't really have to. I think this is a very winnable game. We saw it with Prairie View. You got to go in there. You got to go into Baton Rouge. You got to start fast. You got to take them out of the game. You got to take the crowd out of it early. Take the jukebox out of it early. You saw it in 2019, kind of when FAMU started fast. They almost cussed. They nearly took the human jukebox out of the game really until Southern kind of started clawing their way back into it. So I mean, that's what it comes down to. And also, too, like I said, emotions in rivalry games like this only last for so long. So, I mean, and y'all comment your final scores as well. So my final for tonight is I got FAMU winning 38-31. It's a rivalry game and it's in Baton Rouge. I don't trust these officials. So that's why I'm giving Southern 31 points. But I do think FAMU wins this one 38-31. They still stay within reach of clinching the SWAC East, although I think that might be out of the question, but I think they still stay alive for an FCS playoff bid. So yeah, I'm gonna roll with 35-31. 35-21. You know what? That was my score prediction back in 2019 for this game, but I could see it, especially after the way I saw Southern present themselves against Prairie View, 28-26. I like it. I like it. SWAC's finals will make it interesting for sure. Oh yeah, they definitely will. They always do, especially when from what I've heard, it's really bad as far as the SWAC's finest goes. It's terrible in Baton Rouge, Grambling, and in Jackson, Mississippi. Those are the three places I've heard it's really bad. So y'all get ready for the long haul because it's coming. But as always, that's going to do it for me for this pregame breakdown. So make sure y'all tune in after the game. We're going to definitely break down everything that happened. Hopefully ESPN has these stats up and in right after the game's over, and they keep updating them as the game progresses. If you have ESPN Plus, make sure you're watching. If you are in Baton Rouge tonight, stay safe. And go enjoy yourself and get yourself some gumbo or some crawfish. I don't know if they eat crawfish in that part of Louisiana. Everyone says different things, but definitely enjoy yourself. It's been over 10 years since FAMU went to Baton Rouge, band and football team both. So definitely enjoy this. It's going to be a fun one. Stay safe, stay blessed. And as always, I'll see you after the game.